Hi, this is David McCann for WebTNG. In this video, I want to look at EditorPlus, an add-on for the Gutenberg block editor. EditorPlus is not just another block set add-on. It brings lots of features to Gutenberg by extending core. In that way, it is unique in the Gutenberg space. You might not need it on every site, but after watching this video, you'll understand the benefits it offers and have a good idea of when you will want to use it. This is a countdown video listing the features of EditorPlus. Starting at 10, each feature is more important and compelling as we count down to 1. EditorPlus is free, GPL licensed, and available from the WordPress plugin directory. It gets regular updates, has a 5-star rating, and support is active. The author manages a number of other successful projects, including the Gutenberg Hub website, and is a #1 seller on the Elegant Themes marketplace. When you install and activate EditorPlus, you get a new menu item here under Settings for EditorPlus. There are 3 tabs: General, Blocks, and Advanced. On the General tab, you have the option to disable features if you're not intending to use them. This is nice because it removes things you don't intend to use from the editor interface. These extensions are grouped into the feature groups of the plugin. Styling, which is the layout and design options added to all of the core blocks. A CSS editor added to blocks. Some third-party blocks that EditorPlus adds to Gutenberg, and we'll look at those. An icons library and some animation options. We'll look at this area also. This is where you can add some pre-designed Gutenberg blocks. And then the advanced area is where you can add CSS to a global style sheet. EditorPlus lets you add icons anywhere you can add text. Let's add a button. And then here on this context menu, you have the option to add an icon. When you click it, you have the option to use a font awesome icon or icons from the Icon Moon collection. At this point, there's not an option to search for an icon, so you need to page through them. But I understand that's a feature that they want to add. You can use this feature of adding icons, again, anywhere where there is the option to add text. The next feature I want to look at is the ability to copy styling. Let's take this first heading, for instance. We'll go here and let's set its color to blue, and then we'll set its background color to a yellow. Okay, so we've styled the first heading. Now we have that selected. Let's click the Copy Styling button, which EditorPlus adds. We get a Paste Styles button. Now let's apply it to the second heading. And there's the Copy Styling feature. Saves a lot of time of going through the settings and applying them all over again. The next feature I want to look at are the responsive and hover controls. I've added an image to the page. EditorPlus adds all of these settings here for layout and styling. So these are the responsive controls here. We have a little icon that looks like a tablet or a mobile phone. And these are the hover controls here, the icons that look like an arrow. So I'm going to choose the responsive controls, and then we get an option here for desktop, tablet, and mobile. And their settings here, you have percentage, pixel, viewing width, viewing height, rims, and ems. So I'm going to say for desktop, we want this picture to be 40% of its size. And when we do that, that flows down automatically to tablet and mobile. But that's too small for mobile. So for mobile, let's make it 100%. Okay, so for tablet and desktop, it's 40%. And mobile, it's 100%. Notice as I'm clicking through these different sizes that the editor canvas resizes automatically for the device size. So that's a nice feature of the EditorPlus controls. Okay, now I'd like to have the image centered. So I go to the margin and I go to responsive controls. And then this would be for same margin for all sides. So I'll go advanced to give me the input boxes for each side. And I'll click right and left, which gives me the auto margins for centering. And there they are for the tablet is centered also and the mobile. Now let's go back to the sizing for a moment. And let's click on the hover options. I'm going to go to desktop, hover option. I'm going to say when you hover on desktop, I want it to go to 100%. Okay, so I'm going to save this. And now let's go take a look in a new tab. As you can imagine, you can combine some of these settings to get different on-hover options. So there's an example of the responsive and hover controls added by EditorPlus. Next, I want to look at shape dividers, animations, and the CSS editor. Really 3 separate features, but here we go. So I've used the columns block to create 2 columns. I put a picture on the left, a heading, and a little bit of text on the right. The shape dividers are SVG images, and they're available for the cover block, the columns block or inner columns, and the group block when you group several blocks together. You find the options here, and see they have these little pluses in front to show the features added by EditorPlus. And there are about a dozen styles that you can choose from. So we have on top of element or on the bottom. So we'll put it on the bottom. And let's choose one. We'll go and set the color. And let's go into the padding. And let's add some padding to the bottom. Not that much. There we go. Oh, it's percent. I can change that to pixels. Okay, so there's our shape divider. And then these are the animation options. By default set to none, but you can fade, slide, bounce, zoom, flip, fold, or roll. So let's try zoom. And when you choose an animation, then you get your options for the animation. And we'll set the duration for 2 seconds. And we'll give it a 1 second delay. Let's save that and go and view our page. And there's our animation. Then you'll notice that each block also gets a custom CSS panel here, and if you need to add some custom CSS to the block, then you can enter it there. And this is only loaded on the page where the block is. So that's the custom CSS option that comes with EditorPlus. The animation option and the shapes feature. Next feature I want to look at is the integration that EditorPlus has with the Gutenberg Hub website. Gutenberg Hub has a number of pre-designed blocks and pre-designed templates that you can copy and paste into your WordPress site for use in Gutenberg. So you would come and you would page through them until you found one that looked interesting, okay? And then you would click on Copy Code to copy it. Then you go into your WordPress website to Settings, EditorPlus, and this time go to the Blocks tab, click on Add Block, and paste in the code. And here is the block. You can delete it, as remove it from the site. You can deactivate it, leave it on the site, but remove it from showing up in Gutenberg. And then this is where you can click to go back to Gutenberg Hub if you want to look for some more. Let's try adding this block now to a page. we'll go to a page, and there it is. And there's the copy block from Gutenberg Hub feature. While most of EditorPlus is focused on enhancing the default core blocks, the plugin now adds several blocks which you cannot make by combining core blocks. These 8 blocks here, some of them, like the tabs and toggle, are included in almost every Gutenberg add-on, but then they have some that are more unique, like here's one for Lottie animations, and here's one to add star ratings. There's a large number of Lottie animation files available on the internet, many of them for free. Here I've come to one popular source, Lottie files, and let's do a search for one that I've looked at before. This looks like a nice one here. So when you find one you like, you click on it. Now you can convert it to a GIF, but what we want to do is download the JSON file. Before you download it, if you want to, you can adjust the animation speed, change the background color. You have the option to use it in different platforms like Elementor, or edit the layer colors. So let's download it as a JSON file, and we'll add the Lottie animation block. And here we can get the URL where we want to load it from the web, or we can upload it. I've already uploaded it to the media library. So now we can add it to our page, and there's the Lottie animation block. Now there are some options that EditorPlus makes available. You can make it autoplay, you can have it loop, you can have it play on hover, you can adjust the animation speed, and then there are some design options. And here you would access those by clicking this Customize button. And here are background borders, sizing, spacing, and extras. These are pretty much what you generally have with EditorPlus options. So I'm not sure why they don't add those here. Just all of the regular options like they usually do might be more consistent with what they have on core blocks. But anyway, Lottie animations are very nice. I like that we have this option to use them in Gutenberg. One thing I wanted to point out is that you can scale them up or down without losing detail, and that's another nice feature of them. So that's the Lottie animation block that EditorPlus adds. Let's look at another one. How about this rating block? And here you can set whether the stars are inline or stacked, how many you want to give it. You can actually change from a star to a different icon. And then there are design options for title, icon, and block, and you access those by going to the Customize option. So that's the rating block. EditorPlus also gives you the option to create custom blocks. So let's do one here. Okay, so we can group the blocks, and WordPress Gutenberg gives you the option to group them. When you have a group of blocks, you can create reusable blocks in Gutenberg. Now, reusable blocks are static. You can use them on multiple pages, but if you change it in one, then it will change in all the other places it's used. A custom block, on the other hand, is a block that when you add it to a page, you can just go and start editing just as if you had added the elements of the group individually. So let's add a custom block here. We'll call it our Lottie showroom block, and we'll save it. Okay, let's save this page. We'll go add a new page, and we will insert our Lottie showroom block, and there it is. We want to change it. We can just get started right there. So all of the styling and layout options are all there, immediately available. So that's the EditorPlus custom block feature. One of the main reasons people use third-party blocks instead of just using core blocks is because the core blocks are too limited and the layout and design settings are inconsistent. For example, here I've disabled EditorPlus And I'm going to add a couple of blocks. Here's the heading block. Okay, and we see that what it has is it gives you the option for font size and some text and background color settings. Okay, then if we look at the columns block, for instance, we can see that it gives us the option to adjust the number of columns, and it gives us an option for text color and background, solid or gradient, for the columns. And that's it. And finally, if we add a button block, we can see that it gives us the option for a pre-designed style of fill or outline. It gives us some color settings for text and background color, and it gives us some border settings for the border radius, and then the option to enter a link and open the link in a new tab. And that's it. Now let me save that. And I'm going to pause the video and enable EditorPlus. Okay, now I've activated the EditorPlus plugin. Let's look at the heading block. Here's the core settings, and here are all of the EditorPlus settings that it brings, all these with the plus sign. Topography, background, box shadow, border, border radius, margin, padding, sizing, extras, animation, and the custom CSS panel. The responsive options and the hover options. Now we've looked at a lot of these. Let's go now and look at the column blocks. We have the same set of options that come and apply that we had in the heading block. Let's take a look at the button block. Again, we have the same options again. You know, the core block for heading doesn't have any margin or padding options. It leaves that up to your theme. And if you want to make some adjustments, you'd have to add some custom CSS. And you don't have the custom CSS panel, so you'd have to do it in the customizer or add a style sheet to a child theme. But EditorPlus makes all of these settings available consistently for all of the core blocks. To wrap up with some discussion and conclusions, the EditorPlus plugin is under active development, and this might make it seem unfinished, as it is regularly being improved. For example, here are 3 features that could be extended to make them more complete. First, when you go to add an icon, the Icons Anywhere feature, there's no way to search for an icon. You need to page through them. Second, you can only add a shape divider to the top or bottom of a block, but not both. Also, while you can flip a divider right to left, you can't flip one from top to bottom. And third, you need to go to the Gutenberg Hub website to get pre-designed blocks or templates, and then copy and paste them. It would be nice if the library of pre-designed elements was integrated into the Gutenberg editor the way it is for many other add-ons. I understand that these improvements are on the future roadmap, so the author is aware of them. Despite the room for improvements, EditorPlus has all the hallmarks of a good plugin. You know, the markers people look for to judge if it is a quality option and safe to use. EditorPlus is GPL open source, it's free with no upsell, it's regularly updated, and the author is an accomplished developer. The author is engaged with users and wants to make Gutenberg easy to use. If you're on Facebook, there's an active group where the author regularly asks for feedback and suggestions. EditorPlus provides layout and design options by device size. It's responsive features, which is another good benefit. It's surprising that Gutenberg Core does not address this and just leaves it up to the theme. The core blocks are the most likely to be supported in the future. Also, they tend to be lightweight and performant. For these reasons, an argument could be made for using core blocks whenever possible. EditorPlus makes that possible by bringing consistent layout and design options. This is a huge benefit. This consistent set of layout and style options helps to bridge the gap between page builders and Gutenberg and makes it easier for users to get started. As far as I've been able to see, using the layout and styling options supplied by EditorPlus with the core blocks is safe. If you disable EditorPlus, you may lose some styling, but I did not see any weird characters, broken blocks, or broken pages. This is not always true of non-core blocks, where you may get a broken block message or an odd mix of CSS and HTML when it's disabled. Of course, if you have a Pro add-on for Gutenberg that replaces all of the main core blocks, if it's well coded, provides consistent features, and you know it'll be around in the future, then you may not need EditorPlus. However, when you see a plugin like this one and it's clear that many of its features should really already be in core, then it's obvious that it hits the spot and is worthy of consideration. So that's my walkthrough and review of the EditorPlus add-on for Gutenberg. There's a text version of the video available on the WebTNG website, along with other resources, walkthroughs, and reviews. I hope you found this video useful. Thank you for watching.